Today's session, entitled Towards Regional Inclusivity and Sustainability through the ASEAN Power Grid, brings together policymakers, industry experts, financial institutions and research partners to explore how regional power integration can advance ASEAN's collective energy transition goals. The ASEAN Power Grid, or APG, stands as a cornerstone of regional cooperation, connecting nations, strengthening energy security, as well as unlocking renewable energy potential for a more inclusive as well as a more sustainable future. So to initiate the session, may I invite back on stage Dr. Nuki Utama, Director for Energy Policy and Head of the Asia Zero Emission Center, to deliver his opening remarks.
Thank you again, Excellencies. It is my distinct honor to welcome you to the 8th East Asia Energy Forum, convened as one of the plenary session of the 25th ASEAN Energy Business Forum here in the dynamic and also hospitable city of Kuala Lumpur. And on behalf of the Economic Research Institute of ASEAN and East Asia area, and close partnership with the Energy Research Institute Network, ERIA, and also ASEAN Center for Energy and Malaysia, PETRA as the host, I extend our deepest appreciation for all your presence today in this important dialogue. Over the past years, EIEF has emerged as a valued platform where policymakers, industry leaders, and researchers exchange views on the region's evolving energy priorities, from energy security and affordability to sustainability and innovation. The forum supports evidence-based and inclusive collaboration. Last year in Vientiane, we focused on inclusive and sustainable policy direction. And this year, we focus on the ASEAN Power Grid. This ASEAN Power Grid is not only an infrastructure project, but also a strategic enabler capable of unlocking renewable energy, improving regional reliability, and also driving shared prosperity. However, achieving this target requires a regulatory harmonization, innovative financing, and also stronger partnership across sectors and borders. In these efforts, tripartite collaboration among government, industry, and academia is essential. Governments provide the policy and cross-border frameworks. Industry delivers capital and technologies. This is where the Asia Zero Emission Community Initiative, supported by ERIA through the Asia Zero Emission Centers, adds value. ASEC offers a regional framework for pragmatic, multi-pathway decarbonization, a bridging technology option, financing mechanism, and country-specific priorities. In line with the ASEAN Plan of Action for Energy Cooperation, or APAEC, as stated by Dato' Razib previously, ERIA remains committed to supporting ASEAN through research, innovation, and regional cooperation within these activities. Our contribution include work on grid integration, cross-border power trade modeling, and market design tools such as the layered market approach, which provides a flexible framework for regional integration. Through EIEF, ERIN, ASEC, we remain committed to translating dialogue into action, with solutions that reflect both national realities and regional goals. And I trust that today's deliberation will generate valuable insight, and I encourage you to be bold in your exchange of ideas. And let us think collectively about how to advance the ASEAN Power Grid in a way that it is not only technically feasible, but also politically grounded and socially inclusive. And together, we can position ASEAN not only as a growing energy consumer, but as a global hub of sustainable innovation. As Buckminster Fuller once said, we are called to be architects of the future, not its victims. The ASEAN Power Grid is our opportunity to be such architects, shaping a future that is sustainable, secure, and prosperous for all. Again, thank you so much for your attention, and look forward for the fruitful discussion ahead. Thank you so much.
Well said. Thank you so much, Dr. Nuki. Kindly make your way and be seated. And next up, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be hearing the welcoming address by His Excellency Tuan Haji Akmal Nasrullah bin Muhammad Nasir, the Deputy Minister of Energy Transition and Water Transmission of Malaysia. Dipersilakan sekali lagi His Excellency Tuan Haji Akmal Nasrullah to join us on stage for his welcome address. Dipersilakan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi. Very good morning again. This is very unusual to speak back-to-back two different events in the same hall, in the same context. And just now I also realized that Datuk Razib just steal my text, almost similar. But I think given the spirit of ASEAN, once again, Dr. Nuki Agya Utama, the Director for Energy Policy and Head of Asia Zero Emission Center, Ibu Madam Diana, Vice Minister Public Works of Indonesia. So again, it's my privilege to be here at the 8th East Asia Energy Forum this morning. First and foremost, allow me to take this opportunity to thank ERIA and the government of Japan for the dialogue partnership with ASEAN. Our energy cooperation has been very strong for the longest time, and it is imperative that it has supported ASEAN to advance towards our regional energy goals and cooperation. Through the many initiatives for energy efficiency and conservation, smart grid development, hydrogen and ammonia technologies, low carbon infrastructure, and other topics, ASEAN have moved forward towards our regional goal with the support of Japan. These efforts are not only technical, but they are also deeply strategic. They help ASEAN build the capabilities, confidence, and connectivity needed to transition toward a cleaner and more integrated energy future. Looking forward, as we prepare to transition from APEC Phase 2 to APEC 2026-2030, ASEAN is committed to strengthening regional cooperation towards a more sustainable and interconnected region. The ASEAN Power Grid, APG, as Dr. Nuki mentioned, remains a key initiative to strengthen regional power interconnections, energy security, and electricity trade across the ASEAN member states. APG plays a critical role in balancing supply and demand, unlocking renewable energy potential, and supporting a just, inclusive energy transition in line with Malaysia's 2025 chairmanship theme, Inclusivity and Sustainability. Apart from the initiative in the APG, natural gas, coal transformation, energy efficiency, renewable energy, energy policy planning, and nuclear energy will also be central for ASEAN to achieve our regional targets. We commend the support of ERIA and the government of Japan through regional activities with the ASEAN Center for Energy to implement the APEC. We believe ASEAN-Japan collaboration will continue to play a vital role in supporting ASEAN to this journey. Let us use this forum to deepen our partnerships, align our priorities, and accelerate our shared goals. I invite all stakeholders to actively engage in the sessions and days ahead as the AEBF is convening the global energy stakeholders. Thank you again. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Kindly remain on stage. We are going to do one group photo op. I would like to invite Dr. Nuki as well as all our distinguished panelists, speakers and moderator for Plenary 1 on stage for a quick group photo op with His Excellency. Excellent. Thank you so much. Kindly be seated. Dr. Wirawat, kindly remain on stage. Terima kasih once again, Your Excellency, for the welcome address. Right, ladies and gentlemen, to set the scene for the panel discussion, we'd like to invite Dr. Wirawat Chan Tankom, the Senior Consultant on Energy Policy Area, to now begin setting the scene. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So welcome back to the 8th EIEF, the East Asia Energy Forum today here in Kuala Lumpur. So as you have heard, from this morning, our Deputy Prime Minister, Executive Director of ACE, and the Director of Energy of the ERIA just mentioned that our region, the Southeast Asia slow carbon transition cannot succeed in isolation. So I think our region, diverse geography, uneven energy resources, and fragmented market structure definitely demand cross-border cooperation. So energy security today hinges on interconnected, as you have heard, low carbon system, not just domestic fuel supply. So that's why the ASEAN Power Grid, APG, as you know, is central to this vision, linking nations to the shared infrastructure and cooperation, while ensuring, of course, resilient and affordable. Ladies and gentlemen, the Laos PDR Thailand Malaysia Singapore Power Integration Project, as you know, LTMS, launched in 2022, marks the ASEAN first multilateral clean electricity trade. So for Singapore, which lacks domestic renewable resources, it's proved that importing, the clean power across border is both possible and practical, as you can see Singapore trying to do now. So the projects of, for example, the LTMS 100 megawatt of Lao hydropower, where Thailand, where Malaysia is a start. But, still far short of the gigawatt scale imports that needed to meet climate target and fuel the growing and digital economy that we are trying to do. So while the LTMS proved technical feasibility, is also revealed major hurdle. For example, scale remain limited. Trading mechanisms are state to state, not market-based yet. And the infrastructure gap, regulatory mismatches, and technical standards vary across the country, as you know. So apparently, to addressing this require political will. That's very important. That's why on the other room, we have a meeting, right? This is very important. Political will first, institutional reform, and investor-friendly policy. Electricity demand in ASEAN is expected to double by 2040 and driven by industrialization and urbanization. Simultaneously, countries have committed to increase renewable energy under the ASEAN Plan of Action for Energy Cooperation and the Paris Agreement. So yet, natural RE assets, for example, the hydropower in Mekong region, solar in Indonesia and Thailand, wind in Vietnam, and not even, distribute evenly without cross-border trade. I think much potential gap still go untapped. But anyway, fossil dependence persists elsewhere. As ASEAN Chair this year, 2025, Malaysia has prioritized, the APG, trying to pushing for harmonized grid code, for transparent trading rules, and for financing for interconnection. So Malaysia also aims to become a clean energy exporter through hybrid renewable energy project and aims to boost renewable energy to 40% of installed capacity by 2035. So this leadership of Malaysia is important to fostering regional trust and political alignment. Singapore complements LTMS, of course, by exploring import routes, currently trying to do from Vietnam, Indonesia, and Cambodia, aiming for at least 4 gigawatts of low carbon import by 2035. So it is investing, in subsea cable, is coming soon, floating solar, and energy storage, while advocating for the competitive ASEAN electricity market to mobilize private capital and try to speed up the transition. A fully integrated regional market would, for example, balance supply and demand across countries, reduce carbon intensity and cost, and of course, enhance resilience against climate, against fuel price and geopolitical shock. So the LTMS offer a model, and with Malaysia momentum, ASEAN can scale up into the decarbonized interoperable APG system, transforming power trade into the pillar of prosperity and sustainability. For the way forward, beyond cable, of course, success requires first technical cooperation for grid reliability. Need flexible market mechanism. We're going to hear from panelists from now. Alongside regulatory alignment, which is very important to attract investment, and shaping policy to catalyze investment in the ASEAN Power Grid. So for this, the ASEAN plan, ASEAN Power Grid represents more than infrastructure. It is a symbol of ASEAN solidarity. Electricity will shape the region's future, and deepening cooperation will ensure it is cleaner, more affordable, more secure, and more inclusive. Ladies and gentlemen, electricity will define Southeast Asia's future. You're going to hear from today, not just in powering economies, but in shaping our collective resilience and sustainability. So the APG offer a bold path forward, greener, more secure, more inclusive, and growth for all. But this vision will only become reality if we scale up integration, grounded in trust, innovation, and shared commitment. That's why in AMEM this week, you can see the MOU will be signed for 10 countries to scale up the interconnection under APG. So, we trust that together we can transform energy cooperation into the cornerstone of regional prosperity and power a cleaner, stronger ASEAN future, united. So, ladies and gentlemen, the next session will show a clear picture of APG toward regional inclusivity and sustainability. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wirawat, for setting the scene. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for our 8th East Asia Energy Forum panel, I would like to invite our moderator for this session, Ichiro Kutani, the Senior Research Director from IEEJ, on stage to moderate our panel discussion. Over to you, sir.
Welcome everyone to this plenary session discussing about the ASEAN Power Grid. Thank you very much for joining this session. As everyone knows, ASEAN Power Grid is critical for enabling the sustainable and prosperous development in this region. However, we also see the challenges to materialize, progressing, accelerating this plan. And this session, I will discuss such challenges in developing ASEAN Power Grid. And let me firstly invite the 4 distinguished panelists. The first is Dr. Pilapat, Senior Energy Analyst, Power and System Integration from IEA. And Mr. Sho Hayashi, Policy Fellow on Energy Transition and Finance from ERIA. and Dr. Han Fu-Ming, Senior Energy Economist from ERIA. And Dr. Chen Seung, Senior Vice President for Strategy and Cooperation Development, Sarawak Energy. The session will structure in two parts. The first one is to listen for their insight from our distinguished panelists, and followed by some critical questions to those panelists. So without further ado, I would like to proceed to the first insight from Dr. Pilapat about energy.
Thanks very much. And thank you for the invitation to participate in these sessions. First off, I'd just like to talk about in terms of the process of regional integrations. It is a lengthy process as shown in this figure here. We have looked at some of the key milestones of regional integrations globally. That's including ASEAN Power Grid as well. So the first bilateral meeting is the one that really happened relatively early. As you can see that in Europe, it's starting back in 1920. And then for the ASEAN Power Grid, it's right in around the 1960s. But what really kicked off the multilateral is about the agreement, the signing of the MOUs between the governments. As you can see that the ASEAN Power Grid was signed, the MOU was signed in 2007, and it will be, as Dr. Virat highlighted, that it will be renewed, it will be the new one this week. So we have looked at the other key milestones as well. After the signing of MOU is the establishment of the regional entity, such as the regulator. As you see here, that the markets outside the ASEAN is, have the regional entities ranging from Central America, Eastern Africa, Western Africa, Southern Africa, and the EU. Just want to. Okay. The next one is that I just want to highlight in terms of the market integration levels. We have classified into 3 stages. The first one is the early stage, and then the second, moving from early stages to the shallow stage and then to the deep stage. And the levels is depending on the factors which I've highlighted here. That the first one is about the hard infrastructure, which is the interconnections infrastructure. And then the rest is about the soft infrastructure, that's including institutional architecture, what the regions have in place, and then in terms of the planning and investment coordinations, how the planning has been integrated at the national levels and whether it's considered regional visions, and then the technical harmonizations and the standards between the jurisdictions that involve in the multilateral trades. And then the last one is about commercial tradings and the market designs. And the regions that are considered in the early stage is the LTMS, the Laos, Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore. But then the LTMS also moving from the early stage to a shallow stage as well, because the development that we have seen, especially over the past few years. And then for the shallow stage, some of the examples including the South African Power Pool, and then Central America or CPEC. And then for the deep stage, where there's a full grid infrastructure to help with the multilateral trade, is the EU, and then the Nordic electricity market, as well as the some of the North American system, including PJM and also CAISO, California. Just want to highlight that key stakeholders that play key roles in establishing the regional integrations and to advance the regional integrations, including governments, regulator, and utilities. For governments, it provides a political impulse for cross-border power system integrations and to enforce the regional regulations. And then for a regulator, is oversee and to ensure that the integrations are efficient and equitable. And then another key stakeholders is utilities, including the system operators, is the driving force behind the regional level technical harmonizations because they're the one that deal with all the technicals, doing the system operations and planning. So I just want to end with the key enabling factors for success of the regional integrations. So that's including strong political will to cooperate, and then sound cross-border trading rules and transmission regulations. And the last one is about regional institutions with clear and significant executive power. I'd just like to end my presentation here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pilapat. He has clearly mentioned the development stage of ASEAN Power Grid and what we should do in harmonizing the market. Thank you very much. And next is Mr. Sho Hayashi from ERIA.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sho Hayashi from ERIA, and covering transition finance and carbon market-related projects. And well, as Pak Nuki already mentioned our activities, well, transition finance plays a crucial role in enabling and realizing all the energy and decarbonization-related projects in the region. And in order to realize them, however, we have a lot of different obstacles. We need the policy coordination that will remove the risks for the business cases. Also, there are technical advancement that is required. And also, maybe we need the development of a carbon market to make those projects financially feasible. And in order to debottleneck all those challenges, ERIA is working on different layers of projects on transition finance. The first is the ATF study group, which is basically a platform of different stakeholders, both private and public financial institutions, as well as industry players and government regulators, as a dialogue platform for everyone to bring in their challenges. And also, we engage with individual stakeholders to remove and support them to take a step forward in realizing the transition finance. And lastly, we provided knowledge support tools, which is meant to provide the neutral knowledges and facts for the stakeholders to make necessary decisions. In just introducing a bit of our outputs recently, one of them is the ERIA ADB METI joint report on transition finance that is going to be officially launched this week as well. And the background here was that there had been a significant growth of green financing in the region over the past decade. However, our sense is that we need more financing that has to go into not only scaling up the renewables, but the financing for the building necessary infrastructure, and as well as supporting decarbonization of the hard-to-abate and high-emitting sectors. And in this context, so APG is obviously a huge chunk of a project that would require transition finance. And so we are also, as ERIA, investigating different options and scenarios for the region. Especially at the moment, we are working on the case of Sarawak and also Vietnam, and how those grid can connect each other and to support the decarbonization of the region. Also, we're going to investigate the potential of the underground undersea cable as a means to connect the region with a lot of islands, obviously. Also, as a knowledge support tool, we developed the Technology List and Perspectives, or TLP, which is basically a list of hundreds of technologies that will contribute to the region's decarbonization. And also, out of those 176 technologies, we conducted deep dive, especially for the technology, transition-related technologies, so that, for example, we provide the affordability of those technologies, as well as how much decarbonization contribution they can make, how does it fit under the current ASEAN taxonomy. So all those analysis is provided in order to support the decision-making of the stakeholders in the region. And so under the energy midstream sector, we also have several technologies listed up just as an example. So it's not the only technologies, but for example, HVDC transmission system, smart grid, utility scale batteries, and VSG and DC microgrid. All of those technologies require further development and installment. And therefore, we need the collaboration among different stakeholders to make all those technologies financially feasible. So I'll stop here and pass it to the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hayashi, for your insight about the transition finance and the taxonomy for investment. And next is Dr. Han Fu-min. Floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Kutanis-san. A very good morning, Excellency, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I want to introduce you a new architecture of how we are able to move ASEAN Power Grid to the next level to be integrated multilateral trading. So I think this is developed under ERIA study. By understanding the complexity within ASEAN, how we are able to treat each country in a unique way, at the same time we are able to allow country to advance and participate in electricity market. But I think, first of all, from the outset of my talk, I think it's important to bring us in the same level. I think the more important when we talk about the power trading, currently power are trade just one way based on the power purchasing agreement. A power trade in a way that demand supply in real time and you dispatch in intraday in a minute. So I think this is the absent in ASEAN context. And first, before power trade, you need to have hard and soft infrastructure. And we have that problem. I think we need to speed up the interconnection across the ASEAN. ASEAN, we identify around 18 key connections. So to bring up around 18 gigawatt by 2040 and potentially toward around double by 2050. But currently only around 5 to 7 gigawatt are being active, around 8 interconnection in place. The more important, we need to understand the complexity around three important things. First, regulation and policy. We know that we already talked about harmonization and other, because in a regional power trade, you need a system planning and system planning operator. These two are important. So you need to have the country to deregulate, to join a regional regulation. So countries need to align their policy and regulation toward regional trading. And then I think there are also countries have in place subsidy, energy security concern, and others. So how the new architect of the layer market can allow each of ASEAN countries to trade electricity. Additional barrier in terms of data and sharing, because your country need to share the real-time data so that you can match demand and supply. You can have a day-ahead market, and then you form intraday and dispatch electricity in the last minute. So this all the element important that country need to do, and also investment in the interconnectivity. So what is the layer market mean? I think we respect the national sovereignty and all the context complexity in the country, including the subsidy. And we able to allow country to participate based on their condition. So what actually we understand is the current system, we look at it, it have bilateral trade existing. and it have linked bilateral trade like electricity agreement from Laos through Thailand, through Malaysia to Singapore. And then also you have a domestic platform, a kind of auction where Malaysia sell renewable to electricity to Singapore. And what absent is within the PPA, power purchasing agreement, long-term contracts, I think that existing, but they are absent of short-term spot market, where allow country to exchange electricity and optimize the grid. So I think this is quite important that if country able to also combine long-term and short-term trading, this allow country to participate in the gradually in the integrated electricity market. And we understand various conditions of the country, that this is what we do the mapping. And so both long-term, the layer market allow the existence of long-term and short-term trading. So what is proposed new under the ERIA study here is a short-term electricity trade combined with the long-term PPA. So, but in this condition, I think country need to some extent, I think, harmonize and discuss in terms of interconnection, physical interconnection, and also some of the harmonization of the regulation and in order to allow this market gradually to be traded in the ASEAN region. I hope the layer market could support gradually for moving from bilateral trade toward multilateral trade in the near futures. I stop here, and because we don't have time, we can talk outside if you are interested about it. Thank you so much. Back to you, Kutinisan. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Han Fumin, to introduce our new idea of layered market model. Thank you very much. And lastly, from Dr. Chen Xiun, to share your insights.
Thank you. Thank you. Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for our fellow panelists to share about the ideas, the challenges, and the very interesting idea that the multi-layer, the layered trading system as we progress on the ASEAN Power Grid. My sharing will be a lot simpler. For utility, for business, we see there's aspiration for ASEAN Power Grid, of course. But as we deal with the different parties, we are building one interconnection, one connection at a time, right? So we are working on looking at every single deal and try to get one deal across so that the team can proceed. So let me have a quick introduction on Sarawak and Sarawak Energy. Basically, we are on the Borneo Island, somehow in the middle of ASEAN, right? There are three countries from Borneo, Malaysia, besides Sarawak with Sabah, the next state, and also with Brunei and Kalimantan, Indonesia. So we are wholly owned by the Sarawak government, vertically integrated, and we have over 100 years of history in supplying electricity in Sarawak, and we are the largest renewable energy developer in Malaysia. That is because we have a large portfolio of hydropower. Okay? So our approach in developing or providing a sustainable energy is by developing the indigenous energy resources that we have. Okay? We have hydropower potential, and we do have gas and coal as well, which we use as a way to provide energy security and diversity, and also in terms of managing the affordability of electricity in the state. So we have 60% of our generation capacity come from hydropower today, but we generated more than 75% of our energy using hydropower last year. Okay? And building on our foundation of hydropower, we'll continue to increase our portfolio generation. And now we have started on our solar program as well. So with about 6 gigawatt of generation capacity today, we are aiming to achieve 10 gigawatt by the end of this decade, that means in 5 years' time. And also adding another 5 gigawatt, that means 15 gigawatt by 2035. But while doing that, we have made a commitment to maintain at least 60% of our generation capacity from renewable energy. One interesting aspect of our business on Sarawak is that 2/3 of our generation actually go to industrial customer. Okay? So we have a huge industry that actually started about 15 years ago initiative by Sarawak government in bringing the heavy energy-intensive industry as a way of developing our energy resources in the state. So as we talk about interconnection, I just want to share a little bit about the interconnection that we have. The major interconnection that often been spoken about for Sarawak is basically the interconnection between Sarawak and West Kalimantan. So it is a 128 kilometer, 275 kV transmission line. It's completed in 2016. We started trading power with West Kalimantan for almost 10 years now. Initially 50 megawatt during the off-peak, during the night time, and 170 megawatt during the daytime peak period. But over the years, the needs and have changed. So today we have an agreement of 80 megawatt for 24 hours. But as shared my fellow panelists earlier, there is a long-term agreement, but we do have short-term arrangements as well. So on the day-to-day basis, depend on the capacity we have, depend on the needs on the other side of West Kalimantan, we do exchange more than that. So as much as over 300 megawatt sometimes. Okay? But the other thing I want to mention also, when we talk about APG, we often talk about the big project, the big transmission line. I just want to say that, in fact, we have cross-border trading for a lot longer, many decades. We have connection at the distribution level, basically. Here, showing on the map here, we actually have 3 connection with West Kalimantan as well, and supplying to the border towns in the villages, and for many, many years now. And recently, we also upgraded it to 33 kV to increase the power exchange. So over the last 10 years, we have exchanged more than 10 terawatt hour of energy between Sarawak and West Kalimantan. So we can see that there are many future mutual benefit to gain from each other once the interconnection is there. All right? So I later on will share a little bit more about what are the elements required to make this collaboration successful. So from here, we see that Sarawak, and particularly Borneo, sitting in the heart of ASEAN, have an opportunity for us to play a big part for the ASEAN Power Grid. So building on our success for the interconnection with West Kalimantan, today we are building the line to Sabah, right, our neighboring state, and hopefully everything go well, we will start exchanging the first electron before the end of this year. We are also working with our counterparts in Brunei, as well as Kalimantan, to have further interconnection with them as well. So looking beyond Borneo, we are also working with TMB in Suruhanjaya Tenaga here in Peninsula Malaysia on the interconnection to West Malaysia here, and also another project looking at interconnecting with Singapore as well. Right? All these links are more complicated subsea cable using HVDC technology and at a much higher transmission capacity of 1,000 megawatt each, okay, or even higher. For us, Sarawak is small. I think we only have a population of 3 million people, right? But we see that from our experience with some of the interconnection and some of the power trading, we have something to offer. We can contribute to making ASEAN Power Grid, sharing our experience and how to progress to the next step in realizing the ASEAN Power Grid. But we think that Borneo Grid, among the 4 areas within on the island, we have a big part to play, and we are working towards constructing or developing a strong and resilient grid that will serve the needs of everyone on the island, but also as a kind of foundation to support ASEAN Power Grid. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We now recognize the potential of renewable energy in the Sarawak state and ambition to extend those supply to other regions. Although we are coming to the 10 o'clock, please allow me to extend 5 minutes for asking one question for each. And let me start from the question to Dr. Pilapat. You explained about the development stage of different regions for interconnection of a power grid. And from those lessons, what ASEAN can learn from those regions? Different regions has a different inherent natures. Nevertheless, of those different natures, what do you see the opportunity for this ASEAN region to learn from those experiences?
Thanks very much. Given the short on time, I just want to mention that I show in my slide that there's a long process, lengthy process in terms of developing regional interconnections. I think the key aspect is the political will, and which has already been shown with the enhanced APG MOU. Another one is also in terms of having the sound cross-border trading rules to begin with, as we can learn from other regions, particularly in South Africa, where there's on a voluntary basis. There's no need to change anything within the national jurisdictions. And another one is about having the regional institutions just to oversee. I think that I'll just leave it, those three key aspects there just to be considered.
I'm sorry. I heard that the Vice President is coming to session, so we have to close now. I'm very sorry about this interaction, but we have to stop now. So thank you very much for joining this session, and we are going to close. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We're so sorry that we had to cut this short. Once again, thank you to all our esteemed panelists, as well as to our moderator, Kutani-san. Terima kasih, arigato.